Good morning, everyone. Tens of thousands of people suffer cardiac arrest every year. New research highlights the loved ones of those patients can struggle after the event because they are co-survivors. Michael George has one family story.
It's been 11 years since Jennifer Chapp saved her husband's life. Rick was 56 when he went into cardiac arrest in their home, and she did CPR until help arrived.
I still think about it almost every day. I mean, how can you not?
Rick spent 11 days in the hospital.
He was recovering and doing, all the things he should be doing. But I was so stressed. I wasn't sleeping. This happened to both of us.
We call them co-survivors because they are surviving this event, this traumatic event at the same time.
Dr. Sachin Agarwal with Columbia University Irving Medical Center authored new research that shows most caregivers of people who survive cardiac arrest report some psychological distress, such as anxiety, signs of moderate depression, and PTSD.
They need to take care of their loved ones' physical, cognitive, psychological, medical needs, their appointments, their medications. So combining all of those with their own sort of psychological distress and the uncertainty that lingers.
The study finds access to resources and information can make a difference. The Chapps are part of HeartSight, a website to help families impacted by cardiac arrest. The couple became basic life support instructors after their experience.
I was suffering from, trauma. I should have done it sooner, but I did seek counseling. The counselor helped me understand it from the science standpoint of what happened to me.
Jennifer has also taken part in research on co-survivors like herself so more people can also find support. Michael George, CBS News, New York.
About 1,000 people suffer a cardiac arrest every day in the United States, which researchers say adds up to more than 2 million people impacted by cardiac arrest, from loved ones to first responders. Well, with the holiday season around the corner, daily schedules can fill up with shopping and cooking and meeting with friends and family. Many times, all these activities can be a source of joy, but for some, it can also be overwhelming and impact your mental health. Ivan Rodriguez looks at how people can make the best out of the holiday season.
The holidays can provide a sense of gratitude, hope, and love for many, but gatherings can also create a mixed bag of emotions.
The holidays is a time that people really put a lot of pressure on themselves to make sure everything is absolutely perfect.
About 64% of people with mental illness report holidays make their conditions worse, according to a study by the National Alliance on Mental Illness. The Alliance recommends a few steps to manage your stress, including maintaining realistic expectations and prioritizing self-care.
We have to be really mindful, I think, about what our boundaries are going into these holiday events.
For others, the stress of the holidays can be tied to painful family interactions and memories, or dealing with isolation and spending the season alone.
One of the things that's really important that I like to talk with people about is how to make a decision on what's actually best for us, right? Sometimes we need to push out of our comfort zones, but sometimes we need to honor that it's actually not the right place for us to be.
Experts say although everyone's holiday situation is unique, it could be beneficial to break from a traditional family gathering or habit.
It's a wonderful time to start your own traditions that feel like really uplifting for yourself. Go to yoga on, one of the holidays, or volunteer at a soup kitchen, something that helps you feel part of a community or connected.
I'm Ivan Rodriguez reporting.
More than 3 million veterans experienced a mental illness in 2021, and that is according to a national survey on drug use and health. And the data shows nearly half of them did not seek treatment. Health experts say you can honor those who have served by supporting them. Mandy Gaither has some ways to help veterans and their mental health.
In and out of the uniform, U.S. military servicemen and women can face unique mental health struggles, and many veterans don't get the help they need, says clinical psychologist Craig Bryan with Ohio State's Wexner Medical Center.
They kind of feel, I can do this on my own. I don't want anybody to help me, and I don't want to bother other people.
Having a support system can help, Bryan says, to reach out to veterans checking in on a regular basis. Invite them to engage in social activities, exercise with them, or do a hobby together.
All of these things increase their sense of connection and has also been shown to elevate positive mood and psychological well-being.
Brian says to also watch out for red flags. There could be a mental health concern if a veteran experiences severe behavior changes, sleep disruption like an inability to fall and stay asleep, or if there are concerning verbalizations like, "I can't take this anymore."
We often find that veterans will not necessarily say out loud that they're having thoughts about suicide. They may have these other sort of coded statements that would indicate that things aren't going really well.
Brian says it's also important to let veterans know there is help for them.
Our advances in psychological treatments have been very profound over the past few decades, and that many of those conditions that we were talking about before that often affect veterans, there are actually now really good treatments that are remarkably successful for addressing those issues.
For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
Brian says veterans can also help their own mental health by exercising on a regular basis, eating healthy, keeping to a regular sleep schedule, and being willing to reach out for help when it's needed. All right, Amazon is warning about two new scams. It comes as con artists are targeting shoppers who are looking for holiday deals. Michael George has the details on that.
Amazon handles millions of purchases during the holiday season, and con artists are trying to take advantage. The company says scammers pretending to be Amazon are sending out emails with an attachment like this example, warning your account will be suspended or put on hold in order to try to get your login credentials or payment information. And some Prime members are receiving fake texts, calls, and emails claiming there's a membership issue that requires payment or bank information.
And so far this year, we've taken down over 45,000 websites, taken down over 15,000 phone numbers that bad actors had been using.
These Amazon scams are just the latest tactics cybercriminals are using to target shoppers this time of year. The FBI says 12,000 Americans reported losing money during last year's holiday shopping season. Those scams include social media posts offering gift cards, online surveys designed to steal personal information, and fake messages advertising hard-to-find items.
And it turns out it's taking you to a fake website with a lot of times really too good to be true prices on items that may be out of stock elsewhere.
Melanie McGovern with the Better Business Bureau says delivery scams are also common, with criminals posing as your delivery service, sending out texts with fake links designed to steal info.
Don't click on the link, don't give them any information. We definitely encourage everybody to go to the website of the delivery service directly.
Experts say thinking twice before you click on a link can save you from becoming a scam victim. Michael George, CBS News, New York.
Still to come on Mid Morning, how one university is increasing the number of students who graduate. We'll show you how a little later on Mid Morning. The U.S. is among the most dangerous developed nations for childbirth. That's according to a new report that shows more than 10% of births were preterm last year. Naomi Ruckham has more on that report.
The preterm birth rate in the U.S. remains near an all-time high, according to the March of Dimes annual report card. Data of preterm births from the CDC finds 10.5% of births happened before 37 weeks of pregnancy in 2021, the highest percentage ever. In 2022, that number dropped to 10.4%, a negligible difference, according to the head of the March of Dimes. When we see a slight improvement over last year, is that enough?
Really, if you look at the data over the last 20 years, we haven't made any improvements, and it's really going in the wrong direction.
The March of Dimes gives the U.S. a D+ grade, and 8 states plus Puerto Rico earned an F.
That's where we see chronic conditions like hypertension, the diabetes, smoking, obesity.
The data also highlights significant racial disparities. Black and Native American women are 54% more likely to have a preterm birth compared to white women. Preterm birth is one of the leading causes of infant death in the U.S., and CDC data shows the infant mortality rate rose 3% last year, the largest spike in over 2 decades.
I can't believe that Black babies are 2 times more likely not to make their first birthday compared to their white counterparts.
The new report also shows maternal deaths have almost doubled in the United States since 2018. Naomi Ruckham, CBS News, New York.
The March of Dimes is urging more states to extend postpartum Medicaid benefits from 60 days to 12 months. It also wants more states to provide 12 weeks of paid family leave. Well, housing and hunger are two of the biggest issues plaguing vulnerable children across our country. That's according to the Children's Health Watch organization, which has spent decades supporting families in need. Dr. Malika Marshall shows us how the group helped make dreams come true for one mother.
Yeah, it's hard to get around the corners. Yeah.
Valencia Latus was gainfully employed, but when COVID hit, the bottom fell out.
I cannot go to work. All my kids have COVID. Only my husband go to work. Then he had to stop working.
To make matters worse, 2 of her 5 children dropped off their growth curves, one due to severe food allergies, so preparing meals became unaffordable.
We have to make different kind of food for the kids.
Valencia turned to Children's Health Watch, a national network of researchers and pediatricians centered at Boston Medical Center. Its main goal to improve the health outcomes of babies and toddlers by addressing food and housing insecurity.
Dr. Sandel is the housing doctor and I'm the hunger doctor, but we work very closely together because those are the twin demons. We always talk about canaries in the coal mine. Well, you know, the babies are our canaries, but of course they're also invisible. You know, they're not shutting down Congress.
Children's Health Watch has interviewed over 80,000 families and has been able to show policymakers that children in assistance programs are in better health. Take tax credits.
When you can translate it to that extra $1,000 in some family's pocket, may result in 8% lower premature births or 10% higher rates of babies being healthy, born with a healthy weight, then it all of a sudden clicks.
Children's Health Watch not only supported the growth of Valencia's children, but also helped her achieve a lifelong goal.
We were able to step in and be able to assist her to get over that hump. And last month she bought her house.
That's one of my big dreams.
A dream most of us have. Dr. Malika Marshall, CBS News, Boston.
Well, housing and hunger are the two biggest issues plaguing children, and I believe we just went through that one. Children's Health Watch advocates support for young families across the nation. The program has also locations in Little Rock, Minneapolis, and in Philadelphia. Now, a college degree can lead to better jobs and higher wages, but nationwide, nearly 40% of students drop out before graduating. A college in New York is now using AI to help spot at-risk students and get them to the finish line. Bradley Blackburn shows us how in this story.
John Jay College in New York City educates thousands of students every year. And in the last 2 years, they've done something remarkable. The graduation rate has jumped from 50% to more than 80%.
How big of a deal is that?
It's a huge deal.
Dana Prieto is the academic advisor for more than 700 students. It's impossible to follow each one closely. But now a high-tech tool identifies who needs help the most.
It just narrows and helps us focus and target the student population that we really need to work with.
John Jay shared 10 years worth of student data with a nonprofit called DataKind, which analyzed it using artificial intelligence. More than 75 different indicators feed into a predictive model. It assigns every student a support score, ranking their risk of dropping out.
Some of it is grades and enrollment and you know, whether or not attendance is high, but there are other factors that John Jay brought to that conversation because they know their student body.
Many students are Hispanic and Black, statistically less likely to graduate than white and Asian peers. This allows John Jay advisors to proactively reach out before their students are really struggling.
The tool is just really spitting out the information. So there's always got to be a human touch, especially within my role as an academic advisor.
What's happening here is proof that this really works.
Yeah, I believe that, and I see it.
Proof that AI and dedicated educators can make real progress. Bradley Blackburn, CBS News, New York.
The DataKind program has been so successful that it's expanding to multiple public colleges in New York City. They hope it can eventually expand across the country. All right, when we come back, one man takes on the summit, that is, one step at a time. Good morning, we'll be right back. All right, welcome back, everyone. Is there something you would like to do, but you worry it's too late? Well, it's never too late, according to one man in New York State. At age 69, he started rock climbing. Elaine Quijano met the athlete, who's now 77, to hear how he first fell in love with the sport and why he believes it's possible to find and pursue a new hobby at any age.
It is a grueling grinding, physical sport, where getting to the top requires brains and brawn. On a recent visit to a New York rock climbing gym,
sometimes you'll fail, but it's like that. It's the failure that keeps you coming back.
we discovered a range of reasons
It's exciting and fun, but also turns my arms into noodles.
why people climb.
Climbing makes me feel healed, challenged,
Alive.
Fulfilled.
Steve Cohen started climbing 7 years ago, just months before his 70th birthday. Now, at 77, he is experienced enough to show others, including this reporter, the ropes.
Shake your arm out because you're going to get blood back in and oxygen back into your muscles when you do that.
Such a clinical analysis up here. Dr. Cohen.
By day, Dr. Cohen treats dermatology patients in New York City.
Thanks.
By night, he's tackling other challenges on the wall.
He taught me climbing, believe it or not.
Dr. Richard Zhu was scared of heights until his former colleague and mentor dragged him to the climbing gym after work a couple of years ago. Today, Zhu says he still looks up to Cohen.
I think he's still a kid and he's still a growing boy. It really amazes me. He could do a lot of great things on this wall I wish I could do when I'm at his age.
Sports have always been a part of Cohen's life. He went to Penn State on a gymnastics scholarship and won the NCAA Individual All-Around Championship twice. In 1968, he made it to the Olympics.
Use the flat of your feet.
More than half a century later, Cohen is reaching for his next peak, this time in New York's Shawangunk Mountains, or the Gunks, about 2 hours north of the city.
How did you first get into rock climbing?
I met someone at a party and I started asking him what he did for exercise, and he said he liked to go to the Gunks here to climb and that he climbed in a gym in Brooklyn. Within a week, I had met him there at that gym, and within one session, I was totally hooked.
Part of the draw is the parallel to his day job.
As a physician, you are in a problem-solving mode. You're scoping out a route, and then you're trying to solve the problem of getting to your endpoint. It is a very analytical process. The socialization, though, is really important. And I have found that the people that I come in contact with are in a different phase of their lives, and I'm able to share that with them.
It sounds like you don't take your mobility for granted at all.
Definitely don't take it for granted.
A mindset he's maintained since his hip replacement at age 40.
For a couple of years, I was really using a cane and I couldn't really move around well.
That must have been difficult for you.
It was horrible, but I had a great surgeon, and it has enabled me to have, a life of hiking and biking and swimming and climbing.
What would you say to people who may be thinking about exploring a passion or taking up a new hobby?
You're never too old. For me, the most satisfying thing is to pursue something that is a super challenge and to accomplish it. That is worth many fist bumps.
For CBS Mornings, Elaine Quijano
Former
in the
First
Shawangunk
Lady Rosalind.
Mountains.
Coming up, a look at the life of former President Rosalind Carter. That story is just ahead on Good Morning. Welcome back. A dusty old book found in a Des Moines retirement home is turning a bookseller into a detective. Kathy Magruder discovered this leather-bound manuscript in the back of a retirement home library. She says the pages felt different. She thought it was worth looking into. The book, a Scottish Bible, was printed in 1705, 318 years ago. Magruder thinks the publisher produced it illegally, a crime that was punishable by death at the time. She also found the name of the family that originally owned it. From Scotland to Des Moines, Iowa, the nursing home it was found in has no record of the donor. Interesting. Over the weekend, the loss of an American legend, former First Lady and champion humanitarian Rosalind Carter died after a brief battle with dementia. Wendy Gillette has more on the outpouring of support that she has received so far.
Former First Lady Rosalind Carter was known as the Steel Magnolia when she first arrived in Washington. Outwardly shy, but the force behind her beloved husband Jimmy. She helped propel him to the White House and stood by his side for more than 75 years. On Sunday, she died at 96 years old. President Biden spoke about the Carters before boarding Air Force One on Sunday.
They're really an incredible family because they brought so much grace to the office.
First Lady Jill Biden also commented on Carter's death.
She was well known for her efforts on mental health and caregiving and women's rights.
Former President Barack Obama wrote on X, Rosalind Carter's life is a reminder that no matter who we are, our legacies are best measured not in awards or accolades, but in the lives we touch. And former President Bill Clinton wrote, Rosalind Carter was a compassionate and committed champion of human dignity everywhere. Republicans, including former President Donald Trump, are also sharing their thoughts. Trump posted online that Carter was a devoted First Lady and a beloved wife to her husband for 77 years. Former President George W. Bush posted, there was no greater advocate of President Carter. Fellow GOP presidential candidates also extended their sympathies.
It's obviously a sad day when she is passed, but at the same time, there's a lot to celebrate in terms of an example that they set for young men and women across this country.
Carter entered hospice care on Friday following a diagnosis of dementia in May, dying just 2 days later. Her husband has been in hospice care since February. Wendy Gillette, CBS News.
All right, stay with us. We'll be right back to wrap things up. All right, be sure you stay connected with us. We'd love to hear from you. We will see you back here next time. Have a great day.